This is just survival now. Man, this is tough. The legs are toast. And the back is absolutely agony. I don't know what's going on there. Last week I took part in the Gralloch, which is part of the Gravel World Series, and if you come top 25% in your age category, you get a spot at the either Europe or World Champions. The Gralloch is a 110 kilometre race with just a little over 1700 metres of elevation gain. Nestled in a small town in Galloway and Dumfries in Scotland, and it's following the tracks of Galloway Forest, and it is an absolute brute of a ride. This was my first gravel race and it was unbelievable to say the least, but it was an absolute challenge. And yes, it was more challenging for me than Ironman Wales due to the fact of the terrain, the lack of being able to take nutrition on with ease, and also just not being very prepared physically for what was to come on the day. So I knew I was going to be in for a hard day after the first 5k climb, and that is straight out of the gate essentially through the little town, and then you're going up this 5 kilometre climb, and I think I got to the top of that and then cracked on for a little bit more, looked down at my Garmin and seen 15k just being clocked up, and I was just like, this is going to be a very long day. The reason why I'm saying this is more challenging than Ironman Wales is simply because of how difficult gravel riding actually is, and I was humbled massively for lots of reasons, and here's a few. The level of technical skill needed to ride fast, choosing the correct lines, dodging boulders and sketchy holes on the tracks was absolutely brutal, all while trying to keep up a decent pace, avoiding other riders either coming up from behind or trying to dodge them in front and move around them, etc. The lack of ease of taking nutrition on, this is something I really messed up on and didn't realise it until I got back home, and actually I only unpacked my stuff and got it sorted the last few days, and it's now a week later, so yeah, bad admin on me. But yeah, I didn't realise that I was not taking enough like fluids on through my hydration pack, which had all my electrolytes in. I was using my bottles and just sipping water away. Then also trying to nail gels down on those tracks where you're just getting thrown about is insane. So I took 90 gram pouches from Precision Fuel and Hydration, but trying to get the tops undone, it was just an absolute faff on. And there was the fear of puncturing. There was so many riders scattered along the side of the tracks while completing the race. It was, you just go past someone and you just be in the back of your head, it's just like, when's my time? Am I the next one for this to happen to? I did stop a couple of times because I was just like, what is going on here? And with, like, I just felt so slow on the bike, and you're running lower pressures obviously, and I was like, is this the right pressure? Like, it just had so many different thoughts going throughout my head of just like, why am I so slow? And I think it obviously is, I just did not have enough exposure to being on the gravel bike prior to taking on the Gralloch. I think my biggest challenge through the day was the mental and physical fatigue from how grueling that track is, and probably any gravel tracks like it, but obviously it's a UCI qualifying event, like World Champs qualifying event or European Champs, whatever. So it's obviously going to be hard, but you are just getting thrown around like a rag doll. Towards the end of the race, my hands were just giving up on us. I felt like I was getting like sharp pains through my wrist, and I was just like through my arm and my wrist. I was just like, oh, I'm fucking having a heart attack here or something. But yeah, it was absolutely brutal. The reason why I'm saying this is more challenging than Ironman Wales, yes, I'm not taking anything away from doing an Ironman or Ironman Wales itself or whatever, but just how hard it is to ride, and all the points above that I've just sort of went through add up to 90 kilometers, well, 110 kilometers of absolute, what I was sort of going through misery. I came into the event not very prepared really. Like I'd done a lot of training up into a couple of weeks before, and then social events and work just went through the roof, and I really found it difficult to actually sort of keep on top of the intensity of the training that was definitely needed for the race. I will be doing though in the next couple of weeks is signing up for next year, because I was conquered by the Gralloch and I feel like I've got a lot of work to be done, and it's ignited something inside of me where I actually really like that side of cycling. I like the sort of race structure. I like how the weekends are run, like a lot of the gravel events I've been looking at, to sort of get a bit more exposure to. Like you go away for the weekend camping and stuff like that, and it's absolutely class. That brings us on to something else that I'm going to do a bit of a rundown through the full sort of weekend and try and give a few tips for people doing it next year, like from my point of view of like heading up from Northumberland, like camping up there and all that sort of good stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for that.